I came home that evening like I always do, tired, numb, and pretending I wasn't about to cry again. For months of being divorced, 3 years of being invisible before that, my apartment greeted me with the same silence I'd started calling home. But that night, something different happened. The doorbell rang, and I wasn't expecting anyone. The knock that wasn't just a knock. I opened the door expecting the usual food and nod, maybe a mumbled good evening, before he disappeared back into the elevator. But this time was different. He looked young. Not too young, maybe mid-20s, wearing the standard delivery jacket, hair a bit messy. But his eyes, they looked tired too. Not the same kind of tired as mine, but familiar enough that I noticed. "Ma'am, your order," he said, holding out the bag. But he didn't leave right away. I took it with a polite smile. "Thank you." He hesitated, just for a second, and then a little awkwardly he asked, "Long day?" I blinked, surprised. Nobody ever asked that, not the neighbors, not even coworkers. "Every day is," I replied before I could stop myself. He nodded slowly, then glanced at the hallway behind me. "Sorry, I know this is random, but you look like you could use a moment to breathe." I half laughed. "Is it that obvious?" He smiled. It wasn't flirtatious, just kind. My mom used to get these really bad backaches after her shift. I learned a thing or two. I'm not a professional or anything, but if you ever need a quick shoulder massage, just saying. I should have said no. I should have laughed it off and closed the door, but I didn't. Maybe it was the way he said it. Maybe it was the fact that I hadn't felt human in so long. I stepped aside, my voice barely above a whisper. "Okay, just for a few minutes." He stepped in carefully, like he didn't want to break anything. Not the lamp by the door, not the silence I lived in, not even me. I placed the food on the counter and stood there, suddenly unsure what to do with my hands. I gestured vaguely to the couch. He nodded and walked over, taking off his jacket and folding it neatly over the armrest. I sat in front of him, my back stiff, like my body didn't know how to relax anymore. "Just let me know if anything feels uncomfortable," he said softly. His hands were warm, not too soft, not too rough, and when he placed them gently on my shoulders, I flinched a little. Not because it hurt, because I wasn't used to being touched like this. Kindly, without judgment, without wanting anything in return. The first few moments were quiet. I focused on my breathing, trying not to cry. "You carry a lot here," he said quietly, pressing gently along the base of my neck. "Yeah," I breathed. "That's where it hides." He didn't ask what I meant. He didn't need to. A few minutes passed in silence before I said it, the thing that had been stuck in my throat for months. "I've been divorced for 4 months," I whispered. "And before that, 3 years of being a ghost in my own home." He didn't stop massaging, didn't freeze up, just kept moving, slow and steady. "That's a long time to be alone," he said, like he was saying, "I hear you," not just filling the air. "It is." That's when something shifted inside me. Not big, not loud, but real. "I used to talk a lot," I said after a while, my voice quieter than I expected. Little things like how my coffee tasted weird, or how I saw a bird steal someone's sandwich at lunch. Stupid stuff. My ex used to smile at first, then eventually, he'd just nod without looking up. So I stopped. The delivery boy, Zion, he told me, didn't say anything right away. His hands were working gently over the tightest parts of my shoulders, right where the tension lived and refused to leave. "That's not stupid stuff," he said eventually. "That's the kind of stuff that makes a day feel like yours." His words sat with me. I didn't realize how badly I needed someone to say that. "You're really good at this," I admitted, feeling my shoulders loosen for the first time in ages. "My mom used to get stress migraines," he replied, back when she was working double shifts. I picked up a few tricks, pressure points, breathing techniques, but mostly just how to pay attention. He paused, then asked gently, "Do you want me to try something that helps your neck? It's nothing intense, just some grounding pressure." I nodded. "Yeah, please." He shifted his thumbs slowly up toward the base of my skull, applying gentle, steady pressure. My eyes fluttered shut before I could stop them. "Breathe in for 4, he said quietly, hold, and out for 6, like waves pulling back. I followed his rhythm. For once, my brain didn't resist. No racing thoughts, no to-do lists, just warmth and a kind voice reminding me how to exist in my own body. "This is probably the calmest I've felt in a year," I murmured. He smiled, though I couldn't see it. "You don't seem like the kind of person who deserves to carry so much weight." I let out a soft laugh. "Well, life doesn't exactly hand out weight by fairness." "True," he said, "but that doesn't mean you have to carry it alone every time." Something about his voice was steadying, not pushy, not overly sweet, just kind. I turned slightly to glance at him. His eyes weren't wandering. He was present, respectful, like he cared without needing to know everything. "You're easy to talk to," I said. He met my eyes for a second. "So are you." I smiled for real this time. I'm not used to this, someone actually being here without trying to rush away. "I've got time," he said simply. And honestly, this feels better than most of my day. I don't know if it was his voice or the way he said things like he meant them without trying too hard, but I found myself leaning in. Not physically, not yet. Just emotionally. He shifted his hands again, now working gently along the top of my back with careful, intuitive movements. "You know," he said softly, "a lot of people carry pain and pretend it's strength, but they're not the same thing." I felt that, deep. I turned my head, just slightly, looking over my shoulder. "You talk like you've lived twice your age." He smiled a little shy. "Sometimes life fast-forwards you when you're not ready." I nodded slowly. "Yeah, I get that." His hands slowed, almost resting now. Just the warmth of them on my back. "I don't know what you've been through," he said gently, "but I can feel it in the way your body holds itself. Like you're always bracing for something." My throat tightened. I didn't want to cry. I really didn't. But no one had ever said something like that to me. Not in a way that felt so seen. "Maybe I am," I whispered. I don't even know what for anymore. There was a pause. The room felt impossibly still. Then he said, "You don't have to brace with me." That was the moment I felt it, the shift. The way my guard cracked, not because I let it, but because it just couldn't hold up anymore. I turned to look at him, really look at him, and he wasn't looking away. There was no tension in his face, no awkwardness, just that quiet, steady presence again. "You're really good with words," I said softly. He gave a small grin. "I don't say much, usually. Just what feels true." "It's kind of dangerous," I said, trying to keep the flutter in my chest from showing. He raised an eyebrow, teasing. "Dangerous?" "Yeah, saying the right thing at the right time. Makes it hard to ignore you." He looked at me for a moment longer, then said in a tone so calm it made my heart stutter, "Maybe I don't want to be easy to ignore." The air between us grew heavier, not uncomfortable, just charged, like something unspoken was slowly becoming undeniable. I didn't move. I didn't have to. Everything was already shifting inside me. I haven't felt this relaxed in. I paused, searching for the number, the right words. God, I don't even know how long. Maybe years. Zion didn't say anything at first. He just watched me for a second, really watched me, like he was memorizing this softer version of me that had finally surfaced. Then, gently, without a word, he slid one arm behind my knees, the other around my back, and lifted me. My breath caught. I should have said something. I should have been startled. But I wasn't. I didn't stop him. I let myself rest in his arms, not because I was weak, but because I felt safe. For once, he walked with quiet steps to the bedroom, and I realized how natural it felt, like I wasn't a stranger, like I belonged in that moment. He laid me down slowly, carefully, like setting something fragile onto silk. I looked up at him, my chest rising with a breath that felt too full. "You should rest now," he said softly. brushing a strand of hair from my face with a tenderness I hadn't felt in a long time. You've done enough surviving for one day. I wanted to reach for his hand, say something, ask him to stay, just for a little longer. But then he stood up and his tone shifted, just slightly more serious, protective. I'm not going to stay, he said, looking down at me with calm eyes. Not because I don't want to, but because you trusted me tonight, and I want you to know you can. This, he gestured around gently, this wasn't about taking anything from you. I swallowed the lump in my throat. You need sleep, Rachel. Real, deep sleep, the kind that doesn't come when you're guarding yourself. So close your eyes just for tonight. He turned toward the door, then paused. I booked the building door behind me. You're safe. Don't worry. And goodbye. For now. And just like that, he was gone, leaving behind something I didn't know I was still capable of feeling peace. If you enjoyed the story, please let us know. Your feedback helps us create better content for you. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more exciting stories.